We all know that the basic action to throw a trash is by putting it in a trash can, but after all that simple action, are we done with our responsibility as a citizen? Many of you might not have thought much about proper waste disposal, but there are several compelling reasons as to why waste management is crucial. Improper disposal of waste has negative ramifications. If you don't dispose of your waste properly, it will end up polluting the environment and also facilitate the production of greenhouse gas. Philippines is the fourth largest producer of solid waste among Asian countries, recording at least 14.66 million tons of solid waste a year. According to a report by the United Nations Environment Program, it is considered as one of the most serious environmental issues in the Philippines. Before we begin, let us know first the meaning of solid waste. A solid waste is defined as any discarded material that is abandoned by being disposed of, burned, or incinerated, recycled, or considered waste-like. A solid waste can physically be a solid, liquid, semi-solid, or container of gaseous material. Solid waste refers to any materials that are either discarded or abandoned. These materials can come from industrial, commercial, mining, or agricultural operations, and also households and community activities. Solid waste is not all limited to waste materials that are physically solid, and also includes solid waste that are physically liquid and solid, or a container of gaseous material. Scavengers or waste pickers, most of them families with little children, come to pick waste from the dumps without any means of protective accessories, exposing them to all kinds of disease-causing agents. Exposing the public to the risk of airborne infection affects the environment, especially the groundwater, to the leaching of toxic chemicals coming from the constituents of decomposing garbage. Waste pickers would sometimes burn the garbage after all that has been gleaned, thus actively polluting the air shed.
To address and improve the solid waste mismanagement and garbage problems in the country, the Republic Act 9003 was passed. Lauren Ligarda, principal author and sponsor of RA 9003 and chair of the Senate Committee on Environment and Natural Resources, the passage of Republic Act 9003 or RA 9003 puts solid waste management into proper perspective. It is hoped that this law will help to meet the growing need to improve the management of increasing volume of solid waste generated in the Philippines. The Republic Act 9003 specifically mandates all, especially the local government units, to adopt a systematic, comprehensive, and ecological solid waste management program which shall ensure the protection of public health and environment, utilize environmentally sound methods, set targets and guidelines for solid waste avoidance and reduction, ensure proper segregation, collection, transport, and storage of solid waste, promote national research and development programs for improved solid waste management, encourage greater sector participation, retain primary enforcement and responsibility of solid waste management with local government units, encourage cooperation and self-regulation among waste generators. Next is institutionalize public participation for and strengthen the integration of ecological solid waste management, resource, conservation, and recovery topics into the academic curricula. The Republic Act 9003 divides itself into two sectors, government and private sectors. It can be found in Institutional Mechanism, Section 4, National Solid Waste Management Commission or NSWMC. Under the government sectors is the DENR, which is the chairman, Next is DILG, DOST, DPWH, DOH, DTI, DA, PIA, MMDA, League of Provinces, League of Cities, League of Municipalities, Liga ng mga Barangay, and TESDA. Under the private sectors, a representative from the NGO sector, representative from the recycling industry, representative from the manufacturing and packaging industry.
The institutional mechanism. It is established the National Salt Waste Management Commission, which oversees the implementation of solid waste management plans, prescribe facilities to achieve the objective of this act, and also establish the National Ecology Center, which shall provide the consulting information, training, network services for the implementation of the position of this act. And as it is established, the provincial city of the municipality solid waste management board, which are primarily responsible for the implementation of the enforcement of the provision office act within the responsive jurisdiction, directed to formulate a 10-year local solid waste management plan. In the comprehensive solid waste management mandatory segregation of solid waste were the setting of minimum requirement to ensure systematic collection, the recycling program, provision of non-environmentally acceptable products, and the use of non-environmental acceptable packaging, market recyclable material, and develop local market for recyclable goods establishment for material recovery facility in every barangay cluster of barangay provision, establishing an operation of an open dump and practice of disposal involving the use of open dump provides for the criteria in site selection, establishment, and operation of sanitary landfill.
Now, let's talk about the National Ecology Center, which can be found in Section 7 of the said law. Its functions are to facilitate training and education in integrated ecological solid waste management, to establish and manage a solid waste management information database in coordination with the DTI and other concerned agencies, on solid waste generation and management techniques, as well as the management, technical and operational approaches to resource recovery, and of processors or recyclers, the list of materials being recycled or bought by them and their respective prices. To promote the development of a recycling market through the establishment of a national recycling network that will enhance the opportunity to recycle. Provide or facilitate expert assistance in pilot modeling of solid waste management facilities. And develop, test, and disseminate model waste minimization and reduction, auditing procedures for evaluating options. And now, let us proceed to incentive scheme, which can be found in Article 7, Chapter 6, and Section 45, entitled Incentives. Rewards, monetary or otherwise, shall be provided to individuals, private organizations, and entitles, including non-government organizations that have undertaken outstanding and innovative projects, technologies, processes, and techniques or activities in reuse, recycling, and production. Said rewards shall be sourced from the fund herein created.
And now, let's talk about the penal provision of Republic Act 9003. Littering of waste or in public areas that would be fined up to 300 to 1,000 pesos, or community service between 1 to 15 days or both. The open burning of solid waste that will range up to 300 to 1,000 pesos or imprisonment of 1 to 15 days or both. Causing or permitting the collection of non-segregated or unsorted waste would range up to 1,000 to 3,000 pesos or imprisonment of 15 days to 6 months or both. Next, the establishment or operation of open dumps. The first regulation would be 500,000 pesos plus an amount between 5 to 10% of its annual income of the previous year. The second violation would be imprisonment between 1 to 3 years. The importation of toxic waste misrepresented as recyclable or with recyclable content would range up to 10,000 to 200,000 pesos or imprisonment of 30 to 3 years or both. The construction of an establishment within 200 meters from the open dumps or the controlled dumps or sanitary landfills would range up to 100,000 pesos to 1 million pesos or imprisonment of 1 to 6 years or both.
The solid waste problem in the country has indeed become a major threat to the environment and the organisms living within, as well as the livelihood, safety, and health of humans themselves when dumping sites are adjacent to sources of drinking water. But the problem brought by solid waste do not end here, as more solid waste is produced in the country. Low areas become more prone to flooding, especially in urban regions like the National Capital Region or NCR. Republic Act 9003 is so far the most comprehensive law on solid waste management that the country has ever produced. It was created in the best motives in solving the solid waste crisis of the Philippines. Whether there are still loopholes that need to be mended, provisions that need to be overviewed and revised, the law is in place and therefore must be implemented in order to be effective.